You're listening to United We Scan podcast. The views and opinions expressed are not that of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. If you are in need of assistance pertaining to the rural craft, please contact your local steward or assigned district representative. Thank you.
And welcome back to United We Scan. We are on episode 7. And tonight we have a special guest sitting in with us. And that would be Benjamin. Mike is unfortunately out and not feeling too well this week. So we wish him the best and hope he feels better. And we join us back next week. So Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Not looking forward to the alarm going off in the morning, but I don't think anyone is.
Bill, how was your week?
Me?
Yeah, you.
My week, let's see. I have a new trainee, so she's taking out the front of the route, the end of the route, the front of the route, the end of the route. Took the whole route out with some parcel assistance on Wednesday when I did my Wrecs mini mail survey training.
We will discuss that
later. Yeah. And yesterday, she did the route. It was my first drop day off in September since we came back from the convention, and I nary got a phone call or anything. No concerns. Nobody called up and said she was lost or dead or beaten or anything. And I'm just so happy because, normally, when you put somebody out there, it's 9 phone calls an hour. But, I must have trained her right.
Obviously. And Ben, welcome. How have you been?
Doing very good. Again, just like Josh said, not looking forward to that alarm clock going off because it's going to go off extra early because Amazon showed up late on Saturday, so we're running parcels first thing in the morning.
Oh, fun. And that should be 81:27 time. Hint, hint, hint.
Yes.
Yep.
But I there's big changes since some of the people that listen that used to listen way back. You are now a regular carrier, am I correct?
That's correct.
How long were you in RCA?
I would say year and 4 months, 5 months? Pretty much a year and a half, I would say.
Ooh. I
Nice.
am so jealous.
Timer.
Moved up really extremely quickly.
It does happen, people.
Which should have been 4.5 years turned to 9 because they put a freeze on us when they implemented FSS, because one street on one route fell into the 50 miles circle for the Greensboro district at the time that had it. And then after that 2-year freeze was up, or was about to be up, they decided, we really don't need 2 machines up there. We're going to disassemble one, transport it to Charlotte, and reassemble it. So we got another 2-year freeze on that, on top of it. So 9 years almost to the day.
I just celebrated 8 years last month, and the person that is supposed to be retiring at the end of the summer decided to tell me the other night, oh, I've got good news and bad news. And she was, she talked about her retirement because she'll have her 10 years in July, but she'll only be 61. So she'll get that 5% penalty on her pension. So now she doesn't know if she's going to go at the end of July or wait until the following April. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. I understand where she's coming from, and I am sorry.
Would you like an accident to befall her?
Yes. No, I'm not gonna. She is one that is. Yeah, we'll talk offline. So yeah, I am still in RCA with 8 years and counting in. So I want to congratulate you on that, Ben. I think that's awesome. And
and here's my problem. Why after 2 years aren't all the RCAs converted to PTF? Just like the CCAs are getting their career position. Why are we again at the bottom of the pile?
I know, right? I think in order to do that, it would have to do with changing the contract and every right entitled to an RCA. And then the whole PTFs of having to be assigned 2 to 5 K routes on a string. I mean, all that would have to be redone. If you think about it.
No. Or, you could change the national board again.
That too.
Yeah. We're only going to have 1.5 turds left on there, to get rid of. I mean, I hate to tell everybody, but I know what whale shit feels like because I always look up and all I see is a turd, and it just pisses me off that everybody gets what they want in the other craft, and we get shit on. Period. And how many years do you have in, Kristen?
8 years as of December 13th.
That's uncalled for.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there's no reason that you shouldn't be a career employee by now. And I just don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. It's hard to wrap your head around something like that when everybody else is going career within 2 years.
Oh, I agree. And if I hadn't transferred, I would have gone career. But again, that's neither here nor there because I transferred. But that still would have been only last year. Only been like a year and a half ago. Yeah, about a year and a half ago. If I hadn't transferred, I'd gone full time. But still, that was still 6 going on 7 years.
Yeah.
Or at least a pay bump, something.
Yes, because I make the same amount as the 2 new guys that I've been training the last 2 weeks.
And you've been training
them. That's something that a resolution should be put forward for some type of step structure for RCAs. Exactly. Like after your probation is over, then after 90th day or 1 year. Like even if it's,
I would go the 1 year. I would keep that in line with bidding rights.
Okay, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whatever it is, I like 5% increments. 5% less, and then for 5 years, on your anniversary, you get a 1% increase for those first 5 years, plus whatever general wage. November.
Well, just give me a 50-cent increase every year. What's wrong with that? But to be making the same amount. Yes, go ahead, Ben.
So, the city carriers now, they take 2 years to convert, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
It depends on where they're at, but yeah, for the most part, they're at about 2 years. But when they first convert, depending on the size of the office, they're either going to go PTF or full-time career as an unassigned.
Right. But they're all career.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the point to be made. Their career. They're not sitting out there, waiting like the CCAs or the PSCs or anything like that for, their chance to advance in their career. They're getting it right up front.
Yeah, their time their time counts. They're getting earning towards their retirement. Oh, I completely agree. 100% on that.
Yeah. And I know that in one of the things in their negotiations coming up, they want to try and negotiate PTF off the street, eliminate the CTA position.
Some offices are already
PTF
doing that. Yeah, some offices are already trying.
Right. In areas that they haven't been able to hire, they started hiring PTFs off the street.
They're doing that for RCAs too. In fact, there was a full-time regular carrier position posted to the public in Minnesota.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
On a positive note, I had pamphlets to deliver for hiring for the post office.
Yeah, we have some.
Were they for RCAs?
Just a general hiring pamphlet. That was it.
Yeah.
But that impressed me, even.
No, we had them twice last year, and I had to laugh because of the fact that they were for city carriers. I'm like, well, what the hell? It's like the city food drive. What? Am I getting paid for this?
Nope.
And the answer is yes, but you put it in your Wrecs program there. But really, folks, I'm advertising for the enemy.
Right.
Oh, we're all one big happy family. Really? I don't like half my family, and all of them don't like me.
So let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's episode of Bill. Bill. I will let Bill start this off, and then we'll follow up with Benjamin, who watched the Zoom seminar today. So go ahead, Bill.
Ooh. All right. Well, I attended the Wrecs mini survey at the Philadelphia Lindbergh Boulevard PDC. And what I learned was that I already knew 99% of everything that they were teaching us because, being proactive in the Wrecs program, they basically broke it down that 94% of your mail count is going to be automated. 1% of it will be your walking in the office, and 5% will be your random mail. Their instructions were to make sure that you wear your scanners everywhere you are on the route. So when you go to reload the truck, make sure your scanner's on your hip, on your shoulder, in your pocket, whatever, showing the motion of your reload functions, okay? If you're walking to the door, if you're walking to the garage, this will all be recorded.
Yes, and I will have, once you're finished with that, I'll have something to add on to why that is important.
Yeah. And then they had also the notice of if you're helping on other routes, make sure that you change this route affiliation on your scanner so that route gets proper notice. That's one of the biggest fails in our office, is that nobody changes the route numbers when they're delivering on other routes. The trip to the door, they gave an explanation about that. We've known about that for 4 years versus, the door miscellaneous.
Yep.
Unscanned parcels in your hampers. Okay, now this came up. This was a subject of discussion because of the fact that one postmaster has his clerks throw the marriage mail into the hampers so that it's easier to transport over to the carriers. As soon as he did that, that's to be counted as a parcel. And then you turn around and put it in Wrecs as being walk sequence or a box loader, whichever way it's addressed or not. Anything that goes in a hamper, and this was stressed, anything that goes in the hamper is a parcel. If they throw a bundle of flats in there, it's be counted as an unscannable parcel. If they throw the VFW charity drives, which are the oversized semi-flexible cardboard envelope, whether you take it to the door or you take it to the garage with another parcel, it is recorded as an unscannable parcel. If you have a letter in your hamper, it's an unscannable parcel. Make note of this, folks. Now, One of the things I brought up was also the WSS and the WSH, which is the walk sequence and walk sequence high density, which you get above your zip code, right there where your zip code is for your route number when you're getting cataloged. Both of those are saturation mailings, and people are not putting them into the activity scans. Do it. My first time when we brought this up, I had 42 different catalogs from 9 different bundles that I laid out on a swing room tables, because I had 42 of them, and explained these are 42 different magazines. These are 42 different entries. We mark it on our 4240 that we had 42 walk sequence entries that day, so there's no argument about what you did and why you did it. So be aware of that, because if you have a WSS or a WSH, that's a saturation mailing for every address on your route. Not just the ones you're getting for that day, but for every address on that route.
So we are still getting WSS credit for the WSHs.
Yes, we are.
Okay, because at one point I heard not the WSH, just WSS.
No, WSS and WSH.
Okay.
The thing with the WSH is high density. Okay.
High density, which is for high volume or high density. It's not necessarily 100%.
No,
but it's just above a certain percentage.
It's above a certain percentage that they consider it a saturation mailing. So make sure you enter those.
Which would be
update your. Go ahead.
I was going to say something. I know in my area we know, especially with the WSH, would be like the epic times that they send out to everybody once every 6 months or so.
Yes. And you know it's also your LL Beans. It's your famous footwear. It's your Bed Bath and Beyonds. You know, if they have that designation up top where it says ECRLOT, and then gives you the WSH or the WSF, that's a saturation mailing to be entered under your your scanner activity. Okay. Our AMS. Our edit books, ours were collected last week, finally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they have to be updated. But we also have to get onto the system before the 7th so that you can update your boxes, your traffic control points, your collection boxes, your CDUs, your parcel lockers, your dismount distances. All this has to be done by the 7th. And you know, if you don't get it in there, you're not going to get credit. So we're pushing that big in our office to get this stuff done now.
Yeah,
because you only have till the 7th, and then they shut the system down. Let's see. That trip to door parcels. That's about the brunt of it. 99% of what the supervisors used to have to do is now done during automation. Now the CDORs, which are your bundled flats, that comes, in strap.
Mm-hmm.
They are counted supposedly, but the information for that number is not available until the following day. So make sure you follow up on that. We have several routes that are going to do sample counting on those just to confirm whether or not those numbers are correct. It's really going to be easy for the supervisors. And once you get your time down as far as your distances, walking distances in the office, your truck distances for loading, reloading, which is basically a time function anyway. It's not a distance. But, everything else is done. I mean, they can't have any problems on management as far as getting this done. They made it easy for management, which prevents them from screwing it up.
Speak highly of them.
Yeah.
Well, they made it seem simple, but the people we're dealing with. So, you still have to watch your back and watch the numbers.
And what I'm gonna what I'm gonna add on when Bill was talking about carrying your scanner everywhere with you outside of the truck. This is an instance we're having in our office. We have 2 routes that are lock pouch offices. If you're unfamiliar with a lock pouch office, that is one of our RMPO offices where the carrier on that route for that zip code drops the PO box mail and packages off at that post office during part of their route. It is in the mapping way when you do your line of travel. It is pinpointed. There is a lock pouch credit. However, we are having the issue where our carriers are getting dinged for not moving or whatever. What the hell they call it? I've been drinking a little too much Crown already. Stationary event. While they're unloading the mail out of the vehicle into the office. And I know the one carrier, in order to avoid getting dinged on that, has been using authorized dismount scan. So this is where I get totally that scanner is in motion. Therefore, it's not going to ding you for a stationary event. And that is one I'm going to take back to my office tomorrow and let them know. Because, yeah, if you just leave the scanner sitting on the tray in the car and it's not moving, you could possibly get dinged for that stationary event if it's too long.
And this is where women are at a disadvantage because they don't have, a lot of them don't wear clothing that have belts or anything to put a holster on and all. You know, and I'm expressing how important it is for our female carriers. Wear a jacket, wear a hoodie, wear something, but carry that scanner. A couple of them got a little obscene about it, but I said, I don't care where you put it. You know, you're the one that has to, carry it. Yep. You're going to get credit for what you do.
It's that time of year, yeah. I wear a hoodie, so I commonly put the scanner in my hoodie I'm carrying a larger package away. Or if you're having to carry something, like I know a lot of people in the past have already said in many of the Facebook groups, is to put that, with the strap, put it backwards on your hand so it's facing out, so you still have the palm of your hand to use. And the scanner's facing the other way, but it's still going to trigger that motion.
That works as long as the scanners have that strap. We have a number of them
if you have the strap, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I would, or ask your supervisor or postmaster for the holder too. I mean, they have them.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of these lock pouches and alternate offices, some routes have an intermediate office where they have to go to a second office with a second case.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was inquiring. I saw a post on Facebook, and everyone was like, "Well, you do that at the end of the day." Well, you're not at the intermediate office at the end of the day.
That
is one of the things that will fall under this miscellaneous time that they will time during the 2-week survey.
Yep.
For you to go in there and update that edit book and or change out labels. So you're getting credit for that time, because in your home office, yes, you would do that under the return to DU as your end of day shift. Your end of day duties. But you don't have that option with the secondary office. So that's something that they should be timing you for the time you spend during those sometime during those 2 weeks to update your edit book, change out your labels.
Wouldn't even
any other
case
maintenance that you need to do.
Wouldn't even casing the route go under the timed? Because if you have to go into that intermediate office and case that part up.
That I am not familiar with intermediate offices, so
neither am I.
I couldn't tell you. I would think that would be like if you came back and your hot case is full, and you're like, you know what, let me case that now. Tonight for tomorrow, you go to PM casing. It's still technically office duties. Yes, your load time, once you pull down and go to reload your truck with that mail, is a load, start and unload. But you'd have to, I would say, if you're in the situation, contact your ADR, your DR, your union representative to find out how they are going to handle that part of it. But I would think that would fall under just regular office time to case and sort and pull down.
Well, if any of our listeners are, familiar with the RMPOs, drop us a line, jump on here, get an invite from Kristen so we can get your input here.
Yeah,
it's something we're not familiar with. So.
Yep, you can find us on Discord under United We Scan. We have the United We Scan Facebook page that you can drop a line on, message. We have a United We Scan podcast at gmail.com, and also opened up a United We Scan Rural Carrier podcast group on Facebook as well. So there is lots of ways that you can get a hold of us. That includes if there's any topics you want to hear, questions, any of that sort. I've updated a lot of helpful things today on the Discord page, as my co-host would say. Wow, that sucker was going off earlier. But I know Benjamin will be back with us in a minute. He's going to talk about his experience with the watching the
Zoom meeting,
the Zoom seminar. I go to my mini mail survey training this week, so I will be able to recap what I learned next week when we're back, and yeah, that'll be interesting. I'd like to compare notes with the two different areas of the two different trainers. That should be make sure that it's the same across the board. What else we got going on until Benjamin comes back with us?
He's restarting his.
Yeah.
I saw a jumper cable, so.
Clear. Gotta shock it. Clear.
But it's funny. We all have stories about our management teams in our different offices. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you an example of promoting people above their abilities and knowledge. I had a gentleman explain the half-mile rule in front of the entire class at the seminar, training seminar, about the half-mile rule. And he says, if it's more than half a mile, quarter mile up and quarter mile back, that's as far as you can go. And I looked at him. Of course, I'm sitting in the front row because I always want my, the attention. And I said, excuse me? And he goes, well, that's the rule. I says, do your rural carriers know you've been screwing them for all these years, on that? I said, it's a half-mile distance from the mailbox, from the street. And he says, no, it's not. And I said, yes, it is. It's in the 603. And I said, I'll get it for you. And I dug it up. It was 331 something. And I gave it to him. And he goes, well, I never knew. And I'm like, and you're a postmaster. And I heard the moderator kind of go, because I was getting all this shit about it. It's like, how the hell are you a postmaster and don't know something that fundamental? I mean, that's not even difficult, folks. That's oh God. And yet, they just blow by it saying, he wasn't informed. He didn't know this. He didn't know shit. And folks, that's the problem with the post office is that, they've got people in there that are not qualified to be in management positions.
Oh, yes.
And it's scary. If you don't watch out for yourselves, folks, you're, it's your own fault. You can't trust them. You can't believe them. And, I have no faith in them. So, you do what you want, but I'm going to make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted, when it comes to this mini mail survey. Because I have no faith in our management.
Well, after what happened at the last mail count going on 5 years ago with our now postmaster, who was a supervisor at the time in OICing in our office, and hearing what happened with that, because we all know how they wanted to change up with, especially the pill packets. They wouldn't fitting in the case and all the measurements, and the blue rulers that we don't have to use anymore. She counted every single pill packet, no matter what, as a flat. We had one route that went from a 46 to a 42K because of that.
No comment.
Yeah. So, hence why I'm also the mapping facilitator in my office.
I have an office where I sit there and I look at the 5 supervisors we have. One who actually had carrying experience, and the other 4 came out of the clerk craft. And I just shake my head and going, "You're just promoting the people who don't want to work anymore." That's the long and short of it.
Yep.
They don't want to, they don't want to be clerks. They don't want to be mail handlers. They don't want to be, whatever they don't want to be. But my God, we're paying the price for it, because these people, oh my God, I think that's why half of them park in the handicap spot. A, because the closest to the door so they can get in, but B, because it fits. It really does. And that's scary to say that about grown-ass adults. But they don't want to work anymore. When a floor supervisor sits there and pages every opportunity they can, instead of getting up off their keister and walking the floor, surveying the situation, seeing what mail's backed up, seeing what routes are open. It was 11:40 when the supervisor finally realized we had an open route on Friday. 11:40. 3 hours we were in the office and they didn't know we had an open route.
That's just what? Yeah.
Then they go, oh, we need people to help with this. Do we have volunteers? Well, if you'd asked 2 hours ago, I'd have made plans, but since you waited so long, I made other plans. Yeah. Then they went, and it's funny because they went to the one new new regular carrier. He just turned carrier back in December, and they said, "Well, you're going to have to take this out." He goes, "No, I'm not an RCA anymore." He said, he says, "I'm not in the mood right now." I'm like, God, I have a prodigy.
I'm not in the mood right now.
Hey, I train them right.
Yeah. Benjamin, you are back with us. Would you like to fill us in on how your Zoom seminar went?
Zoom meeting went. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to appreciate it, even though it wasn't in my jurisdiction directly. I do appreciate it that they were verifying each individual member, because obviously had to be a member to attend it. But kind of in a nutshell, they were reading off this, the mini mail survey presentation that's on the National Board website. Big kind of key takeaways were, that scanner. It stays on your hip, on your, in your pocket. Heck, even if you got to buy a lanyard, for that thing to wear it around your neck, just keep it on you at all times. But legitimately, I'm gonna attend a couple other presentations, but it was pretty much read almost word for word.
Yeah.
Read off the sheets.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think some other ones, like at the end of the presentation, there wasn't any questions taken besides whatever you were typing in the comment box, but obviously, a couple I don't know if they were union stewards or what. I presume that they were. They were answering questions, but whenever they could get to it.
But there wasn't an actual Q&A following up.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's I hate to say it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know.
That's a crying shame. That's what that is.
Mine, my first one is next Sunday, and I'll be watching that. So again, I'll be able to follow up with not only that, but the training as well next Sunday and what I received. Go ahead, Ben.
You done there, Ben?
Yes.
No, okay. Yeah, like I said, it was funny because, like I tell everybody, you pay attention to what they're saying. I went up to my training, and a supervisor went up with me, not with me, but, attended it, same function. And the next day, she's walking around and telling everybody they have to wear their scanners in the office. And she got to me, she goes, "You have your scanner on you?" And I says, "No, why?" She goes, "You're supposed to be wearing it." And I said, "Why? They put barcodes in the stalls?" And she looked at me. She goes, "Didn't you hear them say you have to wear their scanners everywhere you go?" I said, "When you're on the route." She goes, "Well, that's not what I heard." I said, "Well, you better go check, because that's what they did say." She was going around and telling every carrier they had to wear them in the office. And, of course, they were all running over to me, having a shit fit. But the thing of it is that what you heard and what they said, two different things, folks. And, once we got that cleared up, by an hour and a half later, she comes and she goes, "Oh, I apologize. I heard it wrong." I said, "That's the problem." I said, people hear stuff, but, they don't pay attention. And say, focus. You have to stay focused. But, when you're sitting in the back of the room with 4 or 5 of your friends that from different post offices, and you're chit-chatting and you got your cell phone in your hand, guess what? You're not paying attention.
Yep. Yeah, I find it interesting that the trainer or whoever's presenting the training that I'm going to Wednesday, I actually know her. She was a supervisor at my old office at the time. She's now a postmaster of a different office. So that'll be interesting. And she's doing all 3 locations in my area. So I know my postmaster did not want to attend with me. Even she didn't see the need for it, even though the email said that we were supposed to. She completely is agreeing to let me go to my old office for training while she goes down to the other location.
Now, I want to bring to everybody's attention, like I tell people to pay attention to what they say and everything else. One of the conclusion sheets they gave us was the conclusion of the mail survey with the high-low option and everything. And it gives you effective dates of the Wrecs evaluation, which will begin on March 25th, excuse me. The date is Saturday, February 7th, and the action is that the RMSS 4003 feature block lockout, okay? So you need to get your adjustments done in your red book and on the 4003, on the computer to add your TCPs and everything by the 7th. Now, that's Saturday, February 7th, which is funny because Saturday, February 11th, which is 4 days later in the middle of the week, they begin the entry of walk data into the RMSS. And I'm sitting there going, well, how does that happen? Well, we put the wrong day in there. No kidding, folks. I mean, it's the little things in life that mean a lot,
Yeah.
I put in our chat.
Josh, I explained to him. I said, this is why people were killed by unloaded guns all the time. They don't pay attention to the little details. The guy looked at me and says, "Well, that's kind of grim." I said, "Well, it is if you shoot yourself."
I said, Bill, you were talking about how the other day it wasn't until almost 12 o'clock they realized there was a route down.
Right.
I just posted something in our
Yeah, I saw that.
chat. I sent I that's the same thing I sent to you, Ben. Um, it's Phoebe from the show Friends, and the caption above it says, "Me when someone asks me to cover their shift at work," and the first one says, "Oh, I wish I could," and the follow up is, "But I don't want to."
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
That's my theory now.
How's
I mean, that's the sentiment, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, here's the problem. We do it on Friday. Anna, one of the supervisors, was walking around a new supervisor candidate in our office, and she's trying to walk him around and organize coverage on this open route. And I said to her, I said, through 3 years of COVID, for the past 5.5 months working every drop day, with being threatened with disciplinary action for being late or mandated to work on Sundays, which you're not allowed to, I said, it's funny that you always ask us for help. And I said, I really don't believe that anybody here is in the mood to help you. Well, what am I going to do? I said, supervise. And I just walked away from her.
Yep.
I'm tired of helping them out of their problems. They you want to write do a PDI for 2 minutes late, 8 minutes late. Well, guess what? Instead of being late, how about if we start just calling out? The route will get backed up either way. Doesn't matter. Parcels will go out either way somehow. Or you'll do your integrity scans and falsify that information just to cover your asses. But why should we put ourselves out every time you have an emergency? And what you having an emergency doesn't constitute one on my part.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to go silent here for a minute. I have to transfer back to the game.
I can tell you it's 9-9 right at the moment.
Oh, it's a thriller.
So I have a question.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these documents require a management and a carrier signature, what's going to happen with the vacant routes?
The RCA who's holding down those vacant routes, if there is one, they can verify. Yeah, if a route's being held down by an RCA, that RCA will have the authority to verify.
It's going to be interesting because we got 2 vacant routes and we don't never have the same carrier. Interesting.
Well, yeah, in that case, yeah, this is where, yeah.
In my office, it's just a unique situation right now.
No, I don't think it's as unique as you think it is. I think there's quite a bit of that going around the country right now.
I hope to God not. God help this business.
It's like I said earlier about changing, your scanners to represent the route you're delivering on. When you're on, helping out on a vacant route, it's the same thing. Whether it's a certified or registered express mail, if you don't change the scanner over, the route's not going to get credit. Mm-hmm. If you're, if you're helping out on a route and you like the carrier, you may take the certified to the door. If you don't like the carrier, you may just put it in the damn mailbox. Especially in our office where we don't sign for anything.
And all the
we have a clerk walk by in the morning. We don't sign for nothing.
And 95% of our certifieds come in our DPS now.
Yeah, 95% of ours come in the clerk mail. Along with all our UTFs and CFS.
Mm-hmm.
That's the funny part.
Do you use a package manifest at all, Bill?
What's that?
Do you use a package manifest at all?
No, not at all.
I was wondering if they pop up there. Probably not, though.
No, they're not.
Mm-mm.
The package manifest is off the scanner, where they scan the parcel.
Yep.
Unless you're in a really, really small office, I can't imagine anybody not having those scanners.
Ours, we sign for everything.
Well, it makes you
But
accountable.
again, like you said, small office.
Yeah. But then again, that makes you accountable, doesn't it?
Oh, please.
Yes.
Whereas in our office, they're trying to, stretch the clerk health out. I mean, we are actually entitled to 14 additional clerks.
Wow.
In our office. 14. And yet we don't have an accountable clerk. We have a P.O. box clerk that does the accountables by throwing them on your damn case, okay? Turns around and helps with the business box firm mail, and then turns around and about 10:30, 11 o'clock finally gets over to the box section and start doing that mail and those parcels. I mean, how many people have already been in the post office looking for their P.O. box mail? And we have close to 1,100 P.O. boxes in Westchester. Because they think it's easier to get their mail from the P.O. box than it is from their carrier. Mm-hmm. And even more amazing, in our office, if you're on a rural route, you have a 95% chance of getting your mail that day. If you're on a city route, it drops down to about 65% chance of getting your mail. Because we have 20 to 24 open routes a day on the city side.
That's crazy.
You're talking about switching route numbers on your scanner. What I don't like necessarily about it is that you're not, how do I want to say this? Like clocking it. You're done with your route, your original, your normal route, and then you clock over there. Or like depart to route and stuff like that. I don't like. That's just my personal opinion. Is I don't like that you're not putting in all the scans as you would do to the other route as well.
Well, here's the problem. First, you have to hit PM casing because that stops the clock on your route. Okay, correct. And then you have to do the start load and end load and everything else. Here's my problem. I take my route out and they ask me to help. And I can fit it in my truck. Now, I use that time to take the stuff there to build into my load feature, okay? So I don't get a second load feature, but I'm still getting paid for doing the actual work of loading it into my truck. I deliver 2/3 of my route, and the piece of the route that I have intersects at a certain point where it's more efficient for me to deliver that than it is to continue my route and then come back to there. Mm-hmm. But the MOU says you have to do your route first.
Yep.
Okay. How much sense does that make? That makes as much sense as when Ronnie Stutz files the step 4 saying that he's going to prevent us from volunteering to help. So now you're adversely affecting our wages, Ronnie? If we want to help and we can get paid time and a half, you're going to deny us the ability to make that extra income if we want?
Speaking of which,
same way here.
Right?
And so again, you're turning around and saying that, okay, you have to do your entire route and then come back, waste more time, more gas, longer you're on the street, more opportunity to have an accident, and do the piece after you do your route.
Yep.
Well, where's the incentive for me to help then?
And I get that as a regular.
None.
I totally understand that for a regular. But as an RCA who has to run her aux route along with a full-time route majority of the time, it's starting to light up now that we have a couple new RCAs in training. And I know what you're talking about. I have a couple routes. There's 3 routes, my primary and 2 other routes that butt right up to where my aux, just about to where my aux route is. So those, not my primary. Primary, I run it at the end, but I combine it like one big route because it used to be. And then the other 2 routes is about halfway through those routes is where I come in. So that's, as an RCA, it doesn't matter. It's a little bit different as a regular where the MOU states you finish yours first. But as an RCA, that's where I get to that spot where, okay, I'm near the aux route. I switch the scanner over to Route 7, continue on, do the aux route, come back, and then flip it back over to whatever route I was on, and continue on my way on that route. So, yeah, I get that. As a regular, where, it butts right up. I might as well just do this right here where I am right now. But, yeah. But then it comes down to putting it into the system is when I get back and on the 4240 for the aux route, now the times are all going to be kaboofled because the pay system will not let you pay you for one route in the middle of another route. So I'm having to take the time, make sure I note the time that I go start the aux route and end the aux route. That way I can subtract that from the total time at the end of the day and then fill in those numbers on the 4240s. Yeah, I get it.
And then when you go to start...
Note, Kristen,
go ahead.
I want to say on the same note with that, Kristen, the way it's written, contractually, you're supposed to do your aux route, come back, and then do whatever other route.
Yep. But
Yeah,
when your aux route,
right.
when your aux route schedule start time is an hour after the start time for everything for the other routes, it's no, I get what you're saying. Technically, I'm supposed to do the aux route first, and then whatever. But
Right, and that's like a couple weeks ago when I did help out on I took the one neighborhood that's behind my apartments for the other route. I did my stuff up and until, and then I passed my apartments, went and did that one neighborhood. When I finished it, I went and did my apartments and the rest of my route. Because, like you said, it makes no sense for me to drive out to my route, do my route, come back to the office, collect that stuff, go back out to where I was literally just at to deliver it, and then come, and I just wrote down what time how long it took me to deliver that, to case, sort, and deliver, the other route stuff.
Yeah, and that's like, with my primary route, like I said, it used to be all one big route at one time. Our first mailbox for the big route, for the primary route, is 10 miles from the office. The last box for that route is literally across the street from where the first box for my aux route is. 13 miles from the post office. So, how would that make sense to drive all the way back, grab it, go all the way back out there? And that's like with the middle of Route 2, literally where Route 2 gets up and takes a right on County Line Road. The first box that's on County Line Road is the last box of my aux route. So why would I go all the way back into town, then grab my aux route and go all the way back out there, when I could when I do hit the aux route in the middle of it, hit that last box and stay on the same road and continue on Route 2. You see what I'm saying?
Good. Oh, we're all on the same page on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, what it says. Yeah.
Contractually, it says complete your thing and then do the extra.
Yep. But we all know how that actually works.
But back to where we were saying signing for accountables.
Mm-hmm.
The last time, or in the last couple months, I think I've signed for 4 accountables, which were registers. And the only reason they had me sign for them is because the chain of custody paper was in the sack with the piece. Keep in mind, I had the postal inspectors, which is who that red was for, on my route. And most of the, they get a lot of registered mail sent to them. So, if they hand me the paper and say, sign, you need to sign for this, okay, I sign for it. I get there, and have them sign on, sign the scanner saying they received it, which clears me of the piece.
Arrow keys. Now, here's something interesting. Because, arrow keys are supposed to be accountable. When I first transferred into the office that I'm in now, arrow keys were hung up with the vehicle keys. And they were not accountable at the time. Well, they were supposed to be, but they were not done as an accountable. Then it came down
They had gotten away from that.
Now we have a completely different box to return our accountable keys in, and whatever clerk is doing the accountables that day comes around, and we have to sign our arrow keys out then for the few routes that have them. But in my old office, even the LLV keys, you had to sign out with the accountable clerk. Now, in the current office that I'm in now, keys are hung up in a key box, and we just grab them when they come in. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing the differences.
Well, in my office, I haven't signed for an accountable in over 4 years. We have pouches for our arrow keys and for our truck keys, but we don't put them with the accountable cart, because if you do, city carriers steal them because they want a better truck, or they lost their arrow keys. So we just keep them at the case. Now, 4 years ago, when they tried to get us to sign for our arrow keys, I said, "Are you going to give us credit for it as an accountable?" And they said, "No." I said, "Then we're not signing for it." Well, I'm giving you a direct order. I'm refusing.
They could have given you a base hour.
You know, what are you going to do? I'm refusing.
Time you for a week on how long it takes you, and add that as a base hour change.
But, you know, it's easier for me to say I refuse, just to be the asshole that I am. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you know, we sit there and discuss the fact that you have to pay us for it. That you have to give us, the change in our evaluation. Not that it's going to be that much. But hold on. Oh, that's right. We don't have an accountable clerk. So what the hell do you want us to do? You want us to go get the cart and push it around and sign for it? You know, that ain't happening. Hire those 14 clerks, the mail handlers that you're supposed to have on our rolls. Our office is big enough. We're allocated 6 custodial workers. We have 3. The last time we had our floor cleaned, mopped, anything, okay? I think I was a juvenile. Okay, it wasn't that long ago, but
when
you know what I mean.
When we were in between cleaning people, and I'm going to call them a cleaning person because I don't think they're listed as a janitor on the rolls. Last time I knew, it was like a contracted position in my office. And when we were in between cleaning people, and this lasted a couple years, the person who was above me as an RCA, who's now regular, he'd run the aux route, run his aux route, come back, and then do the cleaning, and they paid him green card time for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I'm tired of us doing their work for them because they're not hiring the people.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, we don't have enough people. Not my problem. Oh, we don't have enough clerks. Not my problem. We don't have enough mail handlers. It's not my problem. You're in management. Manage.
Yep.
Get off your ass. Get your ass out of the chair and participate. Throw some mail. Move some parcels. Do something. But don't sit there on the PA going, Elizabeth to the supervisor's desk. Oh, Bill to the supervisor's desk. I don't want to hear it. You can't supervise the floor from your ass.
Facts.
And you can't manage a post office from your living room couch.
No.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
No. I must have had a sunspot there, I walk by a certain supervisor who stretches the limits of cotton, and just made just a blanket statement. I said the law of physics in this office is astounding. How much mass is held by such little fabric? She looked at me like, and I just kept walking away. And later on, the other supervisor came by and said, Victoria wants to know if you were talking about her. I said, no. But she knew I was.
Is this the same one that was wearing the stripper heels?
Oh, no, this is a different one. This
Okay.
yeah. This is the one that looks like she has two nephews in her back pocket fighting to get out.
Gotcha.
One in each pocket, too. I mean, yeah. To see her, she goes in the 260 range, okay? And she called the police on the CCA one time, who weighed maybe 98 pounds with a satchel. And I'm like, what the hell? One of your thighs could have killed her. The hell you calling the police on her for? Oh.
I think Ben has the issue of lack of management altogether in his office.
Haven't had any form of management since December 16th.
Oh, where are they?
Well, he has health issues. And I like the guy, so I'm not holding really anything against him, but they haven't found anybody to fill in. Nobody. 204B, anybody. We're just all running the show.
Well, and you know what? In my office, if you give me 2 clerks, 1 rural, and 2 city carriers, we can run that office better than they do. Because when they go on vacation or they're off, the mail still moves. We never miss them. The week after Christmas, the postmaster and our supervisor took off, and we didn't skip a beat.
And morale goes up.
Yep. Isn't that amazing? But you have one carrier out, oh my God, the world's going to end. Like
back in the days, I knew some RCAs that knew the schemes better than half the clerks in the building.
Yep.
Well, remember, we can always do without management. They can't do without us.
This is true.
Very true.
And, there's no getting around that because, first of all, if this one lady got in the truck, the poor truck would scream, only one person, only one person.
Lack of management or lack of a person that, has permissions to do shit. That's what I'm worried about with this mini mail survey.
Yeah, it's going to be, God. Phew. And without the management, how are they going to have access to the data that they're supposed to be providing you at the close of business every day?
So we have a clerk that just went to training literally on Friday. The problem is he'll be in one of our secondary offices. I forgot the actual technical terminology.
RMPO.
Not in the hub where I'm at. So he'll be pretty much, I hate to say useless, even though he's not useless.
Yeah. But will he have access to that information now? Period.
I highly doubt it because somebody's got to give it to him in the first place.
I mean, you just can't go online and get that stuff off of their system. You have to have clearance and access to it. So, folks, hate to tell you,
that clerk's going to be at one of the other offices during the count.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, during the survey. So he won't even be in their building. The person they sent to training to conduct the survey won't even be in the building during the survey.
So to me, that means every route in that office is going to become a overburdened K, guaranteed.
Yep. That's why I get so upset when Amazon doesn't show up on time or the mail. A couple weeks ago, literally I clocked in, 5 hours of waiting time? 5 hours. That's ridiculous.
No. There's no way.
Yes.
There's no way.
Was 2.5 hours late.
Yeah. That when it comes down to that, if it's not there by 8 o'clock, it's going the next day. Period. You'll get smacked the hell around the next day, but we're not waiting half an hour, let alone 5 hours.
Well, that's the issue that I have. Whenever it does run late, obviously I go over our evaluation right now, and then I talk to another postmaster, and they're saying, hey, you might want to watch your 4240, or not 4240, 2080 rule here.
2080, 2240, yeah.
It's going to get me.
It's like, well, and that goes back on managing, the office. If they're not there, you have to make that decision and say, go to the street. We're not waiting for this shit. You're not incurring those excess hours.
And that's exactly where,
especially when you're not getting paid for it,
Yeah.
Yep. And then if someone in an actual management capacity tells you when you get back that you have to go back out to deliver the DPS, if that's what it was,
that's actual time.
Actual time to run the route the second time.
Yep. It's not a second trip.
No, it's not. That is actual time. And you could actually grieve it for time and a half.
And they can tell you they just case it up tonight for, to carry tomorrow, since you'll have 2 runs of DPS tomorrow, but that's on them to make that decision on what they want you to do with it.
And either way, it should be actual time.
So here's another question. My old route, we had a lock pouch for, but now it's coming off the star route, apparently. So now any outgoing that office has to be brought back to the hub as well. How do you get credit for that?
Well, that should be a time function, shouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean, there's no other way to account for it. I mean, that's above and beyond your normal function. Therefore, it has to be timed.
If they're removing it if it is part of your eval now, and they're telling you they're removing it from your route and the evaluation, they have to time you to do those functions.
Very well.
So that's 8 minutes a day.
Yep.
Just a roundabout.
Yep.
Whatever it is, you just double it. Then they argue it, and you settle for a third over. I double everything. I don't care what it is. I double down on everything. And we got the settlement there for the people working on Veterans Day, and the postmaster's like, I don't remember agreeing to double time for volunteers. And I said, you want volunteers in the future? He goes, well, I hope I don't need them. I said, but if you need them, do you want them? He goes, yeah. And I says, pay the double time.
Yeah, because there is no MOU for regulars to volunteer on holidays.
Right.
Yep.
So I filed a grievance. He agreed to settle the grievance, and it was at double time. He didn't like it, but guess what? That's what you're going to do. If you want to help, you're going to pay for it.
All right, guys, we're just past an hour here, so if we want to start winding down, unless you got anything else you want to throw out there for us.
No, I'm interested in seeing what's going on with, the actual functions and performance during this mini mail survey. Like I said, they've made it easy for the management. They don't even have to input 94% of the information. So let's see how bad they can screw up the other 6%.
Right. All right, so let's go on to our final thoughts and comments and words of advice. Ben, why don't you go first tonight?
When you're on the route, wear that scanner like your life depends on it, and the most important delivery of the day, so make sure you get home safe.
Josh?
Well, back to with wearing your scanner all the time. I was lucky when I first started 15, 16, 17, whatever number of years ago. My regular at the time trained me to wear the holster on my hip. So from day one, I've always carried it with me. don't get overwhelmed. If you do, take a step back, take a deep breath, step back in, and try and have a good week, everyone.
Bill?
Well, folks, we have the Rex Mini Mail Survey coming up. Learn all you can. Pay attention to the details in regards to your WSS, your WSHs that go into your rural activity scans. The management that has informed us that everything in the hamper is a parcel, so make sure you notate it on that scanner as a parcel, whether you take it to the mailbox or to the door. Get everything you're entitled to. Okay, don't try to screw them over, but don't give anything up either. We have gone through another year where we gave away money for Christmas because we didn't get this survey done in September. 4 years now we've been giving away money through Amazon to the post office. So get what you're entitled to. Be vigilant. Pay attention to numbers every day. If you have any discrepancies, challenge them. Get them straightened out ASAP. Don't let them linger because you'll eventually forget about it and you'll end up losing. The scanner walks with you. And here's one that I caught a sub doing one time. They would scan a package at the back of the truck and then drop the scanner in the truck, walk around, deliver the package to the door, come back, get the scanner, close the back of the truck. Carry that scanner on there like you carry your cell phone or your wallet. It doesn't leave your person. Get credit for every footstep, every inch that you do out on the route. If you're unloading, you're starting a load and end a load, make sure your scanner's on you while you're going through that function. Get paid for what you're entitled to, okay? Be safe. Be careful out there. Watch out for kids. Watch out for the dogs. They're my favorite kind of people.
Yeah,
And treat everybody like you want to be treated until it's time not to treat them like that. Be safe because you're the most important delivery of the day. Get home to your loved ones. Get home to your family because unlike the post office, they still love you.
And, yep. And on that note, just a reminder to everybody out there, stamps increased to 63 cents officially today. So tomorrow, just so you're aware. But other than that, yes, definitely everybody be vigilant, be safe. I did load some good information tools up on our Discord. And yeah, definitely check us out. And we will be back next week. Have a good night, everyone.